No says you uphold the beingness and existence of the woman. It says you uphold the woman's wisdom and the feminine energies necessary in cosmic balance.
This is No, a collectively operated and intermittently broadcast movement of many, and our first focus is Game Changers. A woman is a woman, not an effing bee. Inspired by the most recent event involving Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Republican Ted Yoho, where he calls the Congresswoman an effing bee, offsetting the intolerable, disdainful, and willful ignorance. No is upholding Game Changer, Dr. Anancia Stafford.
No says you defend, enforce, and defend women's equality. It says you uphold microfunding and or systematically oppressed women in lifestyle and workforce.
All right, welcome Dr. Anancia Stafford. Thank you so much for coming here today.
Thank you for having me, Dasha.
Absolutely. So if you could please first tell us, introduce us to yourself and your work and how Inner Peace Counseling and Consulting was conceived from that work.
Sure.
Yes.
Yes, my name is Dr. Anancia Stafford, and I am a psychotherapist, professor, and a consultant. I've done a lot of work in mental health facilities, outpatient, inpatient, an array of diagnoses such as eating disorders all the way to basic mood disorders. And a lot of my work really helped me to connect with people and being a part of their journey to wellness, to a healthy lifestyle. Doing that in these particular agencies, I'd like to have more control over what I got to do. So I started Inner Peace Counseling and Consulting, where I run my own business that gives psychotherapy and consulting work to businesses as it regards mental health and other things that people would like to know how to work through in the workspace.
Awesome. So with the most recent situation involving Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Republican Ted Yoho, where he calls her an effing bee, is what more so inspired Game Changers, and it will continue to be a segment. So if I may, I have two questions in relation to this. Have you ever experienced such degradation in your schooling and or workplace? And if I may in a second, you being the strong woman I know you personally to be, how do you suggest women in your field and or studying handle themselves in such situation? Sorry.
Unfortunately, I have to say yes, I have experienced a tremendous amount of degradation in the professional field in various ways. I've never been called an F&B or anything like that, but I have been called things like spearheaded or too assertive, being told to soften my tone, have a lot of pushback whenever I'm advocating for myself or for something that I believe in the workspace. This has come quite often through racial microaggression as well as gendered microaggression. So unfortunately, I have to say that I have experienced those things. One of the ways that I would say that it's important for women and men to really consider is boundaries. One, when do you learn to disengage from a conversation that tends to be a little bit aggressive towards your personal identity and blocking your ability to advocate for yourself? Knowing when to identify when it's time to leave the conversation and maybe go advocate for yourself somewhere else, or blow the whistle on what's happening for you in that point in time. The other piece to kind of piggyback off that is understanding where your supports are. There are a lot of different places outside of your corporate space or workspace that are dedicated to supporting a safe and healthy environment for you, and with regards to how you're being treated by your coworkers and things of that nature. So those are two things that I really like to be equipped with, is knowing when the conversation is going in a disrespectful, condescending way, and also knowing who my supports are. So those are things that have kind of been helpful for me.
Awesome. Wow, it's powerful. So as it living during a very stirring period of pandemics and ranging from physical health, mental health to societal health. From your professional and personal experience, what effective practices can one take to manage the weight of it all?
Yeah, that's a really good question. One of the biggest things that I have been working with my clients to do during this strange time is to become organized. This means creating a schedule. This means identifying support. It might be financial, emotional. I know that we're social distancing now, but following the regulations, making sure that you're not isolating. The reason why these are so important is because what tends to happen when the usual schedules are disrupted and we don't really know what to expect next, there's a lot of stagnation, and being trapped in the house, people can become depressed. So the way that we treat depression and also anxiety is to create regimen so that you feel like you have a little bit more control over your life during the time where the world is kind of in a chaotic space. So get your planner out, write down the things that you'd like to accomplish throughout the day or throughout the week, and also balance it with self-care and time for you to feed your social self and your mental self. So those are one of the biggest things that I would suggest during this time.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Anancia. This is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
I appreciate all of this. If I could ask one more thing,
Sure.
is there? You mentioned holistic approach. So, is there any particular spiritual practice that they could take, or maybe an exercise such as like yoga or anything that you find effective given these times?
Yes. Regardless of spiritual beliefs, it can be very helpful to do some stretches in the morning and stretches at night. This helps to communicate to your body that you're safe, that it's okay to relax, and it also affects your mental state. So it helps you get a good relaxed tone to your morning, and it helps you unwind at night. I also would encourage you all to look up PMDR, which is progressive muscle relaxation. That's the simple explanation of it. PMR. Because what that does is it's a form of intentional meditation. It helps you relax your body from head to toe, and you're being directed through this exercise by a voice through YouTube. So try that out. A little bit of meditation, distracting your thoughts, ejecting from the world, and really paying attention to your body helps you regulate your mood, helps you feel a little bit more relaxed, and helps you be able to think a little bit more clearly so that you can be better organized, so that you can have healthier interactions out there in the world.
So self-preservation is everything.
Self-preservation is necessary.
Yes.
It is the key
Okay.
here. Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Anancia. I appreciate all of this. Thank you for your time, for the work that you do.
No problem.
Absolutely. I mean, for sharing your work and professional advice on mentally adjusting to a constantly changing world. Thank you again.
Thank you for having me again.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
This is No, a collectively operated and intermittently broadcast movement of many. Inhale love, exhale hate.
No says you honor, abet, and defend the wisdom, power, and existence of the woman with all of your might.